Welcome to WebStudio. This is Bhubalan. This video I want to talk about AA banking. So this are kind of use cases where you are a bank customers and you just wanted to interact your bank related statements or bank related activity through the AAs. Start with the demo. For this demo I'm using Claude AI. If you don't have an account, please create one by visiting Claude AI, and once you created the account you can able to download this desktop version. And if you look at this desktop version, I've integrated some MCP servers inside it. So just go ahead and see there are multiple MCP servers being integrated with this. One is a file system and mix server. This is AA banking. Okay, if you go ahead and see this AA banking, it has the four tools I could say. One is a guest customer summary, check all the account details associated with this particular profile. It show all the details over there, and make a transfer from one account to another account. You need to use this make transfer functionality. And if let's say if you're sending the money to one account to another account, you just want to see like what is the transaction status, then you can use this one. These are the four functionality I'm exposing it. I'm gonna use this four functionality to interact with my system, like I could say the banking systems. So let's start with the show my balance, and it says that I'm happy to help you with the secure account balance. To access your banking information, I need your customer account. So I'll say customer account is 2. It go on accounts associated with this particular customer. Okay, so it says there are 3 accounts are associated with this particular customer. Now I'm asking, okay, send $40 to account ID 1, or customer ID could say customer ID 1 for lunch. So which means I'm trying to send $40 to customer ID 1 for lunch. But it is asking like there are 3 accounts are associated with this particular customer, which is customer number 2. Which specific account I supposed to use as a from account to send the money to account number 1. So in that case I'll say like use this account, and then let's see, I can help you to send 40 account from account number for lunch. However, I need to know the specific belonging customer ID 1 you like to send the money. I know only customer ID. Please send. I'm just telling like send this $40 to any account. I'm okay with that. So now it's sending amount number 40 from account is the one I'm specifying it on the top like here, and to this particular customer, which is the customer ID is 65, and the description is lunch and status is complete. Okay, so let's see, pull lost 5 transactions. So if you look at my comments and all, it's very normal, and the way we are interacting with the bank, right? Likewise, I'm interacting with the AA to pull all the information. Now you could see that I made a transactions today at 8:26 a.m. and credit is a $40, and the description is lunch and transaction ID is 646. So which is the transaction which we made a few minutes before. So this is how you can able to leverage the customer to engage with banking. Let's dive into the next step where how exactly you're supposed to configure such a things. Okay, for that I made a detailed documentation because I couldn't cover everything in detail here. So the first idea is you have to create a MAMP. MAMP is known for Mac, Apache and Python, and MySQL and Python. So you just download the MAMP server and install it. So you can go for a MAMP here and gonna install the MAMP here. If you're using the Windows, you have to go for a WAMP. Okay, the moment you install this one, your service will be ready, and you just have to go to the PHP MyAdmin. So for me, the PHP MyAdmin is being hosted on localhost 888 and PHP MyAdmin, where you could have seen this local server being hosted here, and just by default this username password could be root, and go here and create a new database, and you can execute all the queries which I mentioned here as a backup system, right? So for now I'm using the 3 tables. One is the customer, accounts and transactions. You can copy this and you have to create one database by saying that banking system, and you go to the SQL query and you can execute this query one after another. And then you have to load some data, like data sense, like mock data. The way you're supposed to execute the mock data is, we have already made some Python functions to do that one. I'll show it to you. This is a faker. Okay, you just have to copy this and put it in a Python file, and then you just have to execute uv run faker.ph. so this will be like interacting with your database through the Python and inject some mocking information. If you don't want to do all this, don't worry, I already uploaded this particular SQL script here. Just download this AI banking localhost.sql, and you just have to create a database, and you just have to say import. Okay, the moment you say import, you just can use this one and putting it here and then say execute. So it's already says the table account is already exists because I'm executing against the banking system, right? So let's say I'm gonna create a demo banking, and then I'm creating the one. I'm just importing those stuff again here. Let's go and do it. And the moment you did, you would see that all your demo banking is being initialized with some mock data, whatever I have written on local machines. Okay, customer transactions. And now your backend database is almost ready within 2 minutes. Now you have to jump into exposing these MCP tools to the server to interact with, right? Now we will jump in how to create this MCP server. To create an MCP server, first you need to install the UV. UV is like nothing but a Python management tool. So the way you're supposed to install the UV is to open your terminal command and execute the CURL. It will automatically install the UV. Just to check whether the UV is done or not, you just have to say UV -- version, then it will be showing the version for you. Then you just have to create one folder like UV init AI banking. AI banking is nothing but a folder which is going to be creating some like a default configuration where it says something like a main will be coming as part of this one, and also it's going to create a toml file where it's going to maintain all the dependencies, and it's going to create some folder structure. So as I told you before, right, it's kind of project management tool especially made for Python. So once you've done this one, you will be seeing the AI folder being created there, and you just have to go to inside the AI folder and go and execute this UV v environment. Environment is all we already discussed it before. It's a virtual environment for this particular project, so which means we ended up with adding a lot of Python libraries into the systems. I don't want to dump everything into the we have a local and the user specific folders. I don't want to put it in those common folder. Instead, I just want to create my own environment. I wanted to dump all this particular project specific tools over there. That's an intention. So I'm creating the virtual environment, then I'm just using the source and saying which environment been activate, so that this particular environment will be activated the specific command terminals whatever you're using it for. And then I'll be adding these 3 libraries, one for MCP CLI, next is a MySQL connector Python, which means I'm directly connecting the MySQL server through Python. That's an idea behind it. I don't want to expose any API services. Then I'll be using some Python to connect with the API, and then that API is to be talking to the server. This is going to be happen the real world project, but as this is a demo, I'm directly trying to connect MCP with the MCP SQL Pythons. Okay, that's the reason I'm using this MySQL Python. And that faker is nothing but to make the dummy data, which I already made it for you, which means I already gives you that particular MySQL file, right? You already imported it, and already you created some dummy database here, so you don't need this faker. But if you want, you are free to install that as well. Next is I'm creating some abstract layer for banking, which means CRUD operations like create, read, update, and delete, that we call as a CRUD operations. To perform such a CRUD operations, you just have to copy all this. What it's gonna do is create the database connections. So to create a database connections, you just have to provide all these details. Like my host is a local host at the moment, and the port is 8889. Most probably it would be the same for you as well. And the power user is root, password is root, and also your Unix socket that you're supposed to do it as part of Windows. Most probably it's struggling to connect with your database. If you're struggling to connect with the database, just do this one. I'll just Google it, and that they will tell you like what you're supposed to do as part of this one. But by default, users and password will be root, and the database which we are trying to connect as a banking system, which is specified it here. So most probably by calling this function, it can able to connect with the MySQL server database directly, and then create customers. So you just have to use this one, insert into the customer information. So by providing this such a customer information, you can able to create a customer. But we are not exposing this tool outside at the moment, but good to have it. And the guest customer, providing the customer ID, it can able to pull all the customers associated with this particular ID and return the result back to the caller. And likewise, these are just I already use some OpenAI or ChatGPT to create this particular function. I tweak it here and there, but you just copy it and paste it there also. Next is the seeding test data, which I told you before, right? You can able to create the fake data, fake random data for your tables. Okay, for that purpose I was using this one. You can ignore it completely because you already filled the tables with the appropriate data, so you can ignore this as well. Then this is where real pictures comes in, like we are exposing the MCP tool, right? Okay, let's see the first tool. We say the customer summary. So by providing the customer ID, I can able to get the customer, and then from the customer I just wanted to see how many accounts are associated with this particular customer, right? So this another CRUD functions that help you to fetch the accounts associated with this particular customer. So I'm just summarizing it, saying that okay, this customer is this one, and there's a number of accounts associated with this length of this particular account, and the accounts is this one. And the moment I send this JSON back to the MCP, is MCP server going to send this information back to the AI can able to automatically can able to understand this particular response, and it knows how to display this particular information to the user. It won't display as a JSON, but it could understand the response. It can able to do the conversation and make the conversations accordingly, and give the appropriate response to the customers. That is what understanding is. That's what I showed here as well. So if you go here, I'm sending this information as just a JSON, and showing this information is most appropriate way, as which very easy for the human to understand it. This is the same things happen for almost all the AIs, but you can better to test it a lot. Okay, and the same thing goes for a make transfer. By providing the account ID to account ID, amount and descriptions, it can able to send money. By default we are having the fund transfer as a default descriptions, but you can able to do it. So let's say if you're saying this make a transfer $20, but it doesn't know about from account to account. In that case, what it does is going to ask from account to account. That's what I demonstrated earlier, right? So it keep on asking the questions based on the number of parameters it wants to execute that particular tools. So you don't worry about the number of parameters you needed. Just say it's a mandatory parameter by providing this kind of things. So he can able to get all the information from the user before executing these functions. Okay, so it does the same thing like a typical read and write operation is going to be happen here, and then the response will be sent back to the user. So if the response is true, then it says transfer of this particular account from this account is successful. Then it will show appropriate details here. If you see it here, go back and see it is being displayed in the proper manner to the user as well. The next one is a get transaction. The same case. If you look at all this, you would have seen that I'm just annotating these things with at MCP tool, right? At MCP, right? This is the way you just converting your typical Python function into the MCP tool into the server. Like this is a server. This server can expose a number of tools. These are the tools I'm providing to expose it. Okay. So this is a top level, and then I'm creating the service.python file again, where I'm just initializing this MCP, which I'm using it here. Most probably if you look at this MCP is being imported from the server. Okay, from server file I'm just importing this MCP. From decimal is for decimal purpose, and from CRUD is a folder, CRUD.alpha is a file. I can show it to you. It's called as a folder, CRUD.alpha is another Python folder. From this I'm just importing these CRUD functions. I'm using it down the same way from server file, which is nothing but this one. Here you could see that MCP being initialized with a fast MCP. Here I'm just providing that providing the server name where I'm mentioning it's AA banking. So finally the main is importing MCP from the server, and also imports all the tools which is there in the tools.tool. Tools.tool is nothing but tools is a folder, and tools is nothing but a Python file where it has all the MCP annotated tools. So that is what I have shown here, right? So if everything is done in the here run function, I'm saying mcp.run. So to make sure that whether you has any compilation error or not, first you need to say UI run, to go to the terminal and say UI run, and then you can specify this main file. If everything works, if it's not throwing any error, you are good to go. You are almost done with your MCP servers. Now we need to inform Claude desktop that hey, I have an MCP server. You just need to interact with. The way you're supposed to configure the MCP server is you just have to go, nowadays you just have to do it in the manual way. Most probably in future days they would have given the option like a form kind of option where you just have to enter all this, but right now you just have to do it in the manual manner. As I installed my Claude desktop, you just have to go to the user, Apple is my user, and library, Apple support Claude, and then there will be a Claude desktop config file where you just have to put this configuration underneath, say like a MCP server. If you already have one, I just add another things. So if you look at this one, I already have MCP server. By putting the comma, I'm just doing my AA banking is a MCP server, and disable SQL false, timeout, type command. The command which I try to execute this main is by using the uv command that goes here, and I also telling the directory where it is, and then I'm just using the run command to execute the main.py, which means typically uv run main.py being executed through the Claude. That's what is happening here. Once you've done all this, you just have to restart your Claude's desktop. Then if you click this one, settings, you would have see that that particular service being indicated here. So there's a mix server. This AA banking is a MCP client, which MCP server which we recently exposed it. If you could see, there are multiple functions which we annotated with at mcp.tool being displayed here. Okay, so once you're done, you're almost ready, man. So you just have to start executing the things. So this is how your real demo will work. So now I just demonstrated with the mock data with the AA banking. Really helpful to expose the real-time information to your UAA in order to interact with your client. So it's most intuitive, like AA can able to handle, understand the MCP stuff, and it can able to interpret the data as most appropriate way to the client. And if your MCP server is looking for some specific parameters, is already ensuring that those parameters being provided before you calling your functions. It's super cool. If you have any client system in your end, you can also try by exposing those client system into the AA and see how it behaves. Okay, otherwise thank you so much for watching this long video. Please do subscribe and share it with your friends, and do not forget to refer this particular documentations. I already put it in the description, so go ahead and see the descriptions as well. So I want you to comment, like, share, and make use of it. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Jai Bhim. Bye bye.